Welcome to UPFront. My name is Tekla Ali Johnson, and I'm very happy to be with you this afternoon, and also, of course, to have a guest, and a very special guest this afternoon indeed. This is Miss Gena Chambers. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gena Chambers.
Okay, very, very good. Now, I wanted to start off, even though I had an opportunity to find a little something up about you, I wanted to ask you about your upcoming and your growing up and how that intersected with music. At what point and when did that happen that you began to become interested in music and know you wanted to be a musician, or just were drawn to this as a career?
Well, I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina. Of course, I grew up in church like most of us as little kids. I can't remember a time that I did not have music in my house. We always had music in the house. My dad sings, my grandmother could sing, my brothers play. So there was just music all the time. I started singing probably 2 or 3 around the time my dad would have rehearsals in the garage, and just kind of watching them and watching him gig and just kind of growing up around it.
So was that gospel at the house, or?
No,
okay.
He sung with an R&B band.
Oh.
But of course he sang at church too, so kind of had the best of both worlds.
What's his name? Just
Gerald Israel.
Okay.
And the Soul Ambassadors.
Oh, wait a minute. I heard of him. Really? Okay. Yes, I have. Okay, wonderful. Cool. Excellent. So you grew up in the church. Were you actually involved in the music of the church? Were you?
I was in the church choir. Started out with the little kids, all the way up to the adult choir.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I started singing with a band at about 15. My brother had a band, and I kind of started singing with them at 15.
Do you remember the name of it? Right. Yeah.
It was PSI, Precision Sounds Incorporated.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so I started singing with them, and I had some really good friends who could sing, and so they were a little older, kind of took me under their wings. And then as I got a little bit older, I sung with Robert Newton and Lotus Feet, which was another really popular band in town, and
nice.
With his wife Sherry Marie, who is now out recording and doing her thing.
Nice.
So,
Nice. Now, what about training in terms of, did you go through the school, that sort of process of the school?
No, I never had any formal vocal training, but I was in the band. I played flute, piccolo, and maybe played around with a little saxophone. I've taken piano lessons, didn't work for me. Couldn't ever get the the whole left hand, right hand thing.
But in terms of the training, the music training, you kind of have that.
Yeah, I had some music training, but not a whole lot of vocal training.
Oh, that's really exciting. Now, if you were asked about your mentors, and you said some sisters that came along that were singing. I mean, is that your family, your women that came along that were singers, and is there anyone that you would name in particular as a mentor or a teacher in the arts for you?
Yeah, probably my really good friend. I started with, her name was Tony Hassel, and she started kind of singing with me at church, and then I sung with the band, the one that I sung, the first one, and she really kind of just took me,
Right. So you kind of started singing with her.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
I have a question for you about maybe a favorite band that you've played with, or a time that we talked a little bit before we started about experiences, maybe even on the road, things that you might have had. But is there a real favorite experience that you've had performing?
I would say probably one of my favorites. I moved to Atlanta in the early 90s, and I started playing with the Phil Davis Quartet, and which was, who was on it at the time? It was Phil Davis, Kurt Mitchell, Ted Gully. Every once in a while, Lil John Roberts would sit in with us. Also, John Blackwell, he now plays with Some of Everyone, and Derek Scott or Billy Oldham. So that was my first, I guess
It was a professional.
Yeah,
really
professional. We were really good, I have to say.
And so did you all stay there in Atlanta? Did you travel or what?
I stayed in Atlanta. I was with them for about 4 years. And then everybody just kind of branched off and, you know, took some other avenues and did some other different things. And then I got with a corporate band and kind of traveled up and down the East Coast for a while.
I was just going to say about that sort of, I've talked to a lot of people, and there's sort of, there are those few groups that really stay together, but it's also the aspect of the music that's sort of evolutionary and evolving all the time.
Right.
And so growth is not a bad thing, and change is not necessarily a bad thing. It's
no, it's not a
part
bad
of the
thing.
growth.
Right. It's actually a really good thing because they all end up, you know, just kind of, right, yeah, they kind of hone their craft. They go out on the road with these, you know, national artists, and you know, but they always come back home. Right. You know, home is always home. Right. So,
well, tell me more about the travel. How was that? Did you enjoy it? Was there?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, you know, but you're constantly living out of a suitcase. You know, you're in and out all the time. You're back and forth. You don't get a lot of rest. You're singing. I know we sung probably 6 nights a week. Right. So yeah, we were doing country clubs, hotels, just a variety of different big events.
And when you said corporate band, what did you mean by that? Just in terms of what?
Well, we did a lot of corporate functions. We actually went through a booking agency, and they booked us to do large events, corporate functions, different cities.
Sounds like a blast.
Kind of thing.
Was it?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, the travel is fun. Tiring, needless to say, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you've told us a little bit about your music in terms of other instruments, because that's one of the things I really wanted to know about is in terms of that background. But what about some of the projects? Are there projects that you've worked on or that you want to work on in terms of your own writing? And we talked a little bit before we started about you do write.
I do.
Right. And so
I'm actually working on my project now. I have 7 songs that are written. I'm working with a great producer.
Original songs?
Original songs.
Oh, okay.
And I'm working with a great producer. His name is Paul Whitley. And I have some really, really great musicians on it. One, of course, which is a good friend of mine, John Dillard, who plays bass on a couple of them, and Kanash Lisman, who's playing on them. Of course, Paul Whitley, Carmelo Smith's playing guitar on a couple of them.
That's super exciting. Can you tell us the name yet, or do you have it?
No, I don't have a name yet. I haven't decided what to call it.
Oh, it's exciting. That sounds really exciting, though. Okay, well, we're going to take a listen because I did get the opportunity to hear you backed up by John Dillard's band last night.
Right.
That was really exciting, and so we're going to take a listen for just a second and let the audience hear that and enjoy that. So we'll be right back. We'll take a listen. Thanks.
Thanks.
Somebody throw some reels on the rack and we let that thing blow up. We just kick back on the Sunday in the sun, breathe on our skin. We got it in. We used to sing, doing that bop, 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 bop. Yeah. Everybody say bop, 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 bop.
I see me lose me right. Waking and singing and chilling and talking and opening the top with the windows rolled up.
Puff, puff.
See me lose me right. Singing and talking and opening the top with the windows rolled up.
See, Gena wasn't much of a smoker, but listen, I used to get it in, perhaps let my eyes get real thin, and she would let the wind blow. Of course, we got a drop top back there, hey, this is how we roll. This is when gas prices was real low, you know? When everything used to be cool, when Blockbuster used to be open till about midnight. You know what I'm talking about? You could ride over to Eastland, get you an outfit real quick. Maybe tell them back over about freedom and see what's happening on that side of town. Listen, this is where Charlotte used to get down. We used to roll up Saturday nights to the Sugar Shack just to see what was going on. Maybe head all over. Maybe headed on back to A-Tracks, remember that? But yo, things is real cool now. We're a little grown up, more mature. We can see how we grown up and see how things can be so much better than they were because we lived in the good days, that golden era. Yo, we come from that time where things used to just go. Think they just to go pop, 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 pop.
Welcome back. This is UPFront, and we're here with Gena Chambers, vocalist extraordinaire, I would say, after hearing that performance. So we really enjoy your music a lot. Can you talk about what it's like being on the music scene here in Charlotte for a young singer like yourself? What's your experience like? What should it be? What is it? And are those experiences at hand here in terms of how people respond to your genre? And I think you have more than one. I think we talked about that.
Well, I do. I mean, I just love music, period. It doesn't matter what it is. I like R&B, oldies, goodies. Some of the new stuff is really cool. I like some of what they call the neo soul, the standards, a lot of the good jazz stuff. So, you know, for me, the music in Charlotte has evolved so much. The musicians here are growing. People are coming out to support live music a lot more than they used to. And that's a good thing. You know, everybody, I mean, don't get me wrong, DJs are good, but there's nothing like actually having live music, you know, people around that, you know, can play. And it's just sets a different kind of tone. It sets a different atmosphere. And right now, I think in the music industry, we're kind of lacking, you know, music that has a lot of substance to it.
I totally agree, and that is one of the reasons I like Charlotte as well. It's just so refreshing to be able to go out and hear live music.
And we have great musicians here, and they all, most of them travel with national artists, but they enjoy what they do in the city. You know, they don't mind giving back to the city. So.
Right. Now I got to hear you sing a jazz standard. Now, first time I heard you sing, it was with the All Stars.
Right.
And I was, oh, what's this? It was beautiful, but I did get you to hear, that wasn't a jazz standard, that was more like, I think, an R&B piece, yeah.
It was probably R&B out there, yeah.
Right, but you sang When I Fall in Love,
one of my favorites.
And yes, and you sang it on a TV interview on another
Right.
channel, and they were just blown away. The hosts were really, you could just see it. They said they were, and they were.
Yeah, that was a good day. And actually the guy that's playing for me on that is the gentleman who's producing my project for.
I wondered if that was.
Yeah. Yeah, his
Okay.
name is Paul Whitley.
Okay, good. I thought, and that was a beautiful accompaniment as well.
Oh yeah, he's a great musician.
It was wonderful. So, but what are some of, you said that's one of your all-time favorites, and of course I like the standards myself, and so I'm wondering what are your, some of your, all-time favorites of the standards, and then anything else you want to add to that as well, but it's so refreshing to talk to somebody that actually loves them. I
Loves
guess.
the standards.
Right, yeah, right.
Of course, some of my favorite singers are, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Diane Shure. They were just phenomenal, in their time, and their music is timeless. And so I do have a couple of restaurants that I sing at in town, and we do a lot of the standards. We do Lush Life,
Right. Nice.
When I Fall in Love, Route 66, Summertime.
Right.
Yeah, just you
Right.
name it, we do them.
Oh, I love it. I really love that. That's great to hear.
It's a good change of pace too, from doing the R&B thing, to really go in and just sing some really good jazz.
Now, are you considering with your project having some of those as covers as songs? Or
No, I haven't. It's not. My project is really not. It's not a jazz CD, but it's not really R&B. It's just what I call really good, feel good music.
Okay. But these are original tunes.
Yeah, these are original tunes.
Now,
All written by me.
I was going to say at the break, you said you might
Right.
give us a little bit more insight.
Well, they were all
information
written
about-
by me.
Okay.
I do have, I think a couple of them were co-written by another good friend of mine.
Okay.
And her name is Lyric, and she's a great writer as well. But I have some really great people that's going to help to pull this project all together
Right.
for me.
Right.
But I haven't written in a long time, so this was a good challenge for me to start writing again.
Start writing.
So yes, I'm kind of excited about it.
Is it based on inspiration? You just get something in your mind and you have to write it like that? Or is it that you just planned, okay, I'm going to write this song today, I'm going to add to this, and I'm going to create this piece? Is it for you? I mean, I know it's different for everybody, but for you, what's that like?
A lot of them have just been personal experiences, or personal experiences that maybe my friends have gone through that just kind of inspired me and said, you know what, I think I can write about that. And it just ends up being a pretty good tune.
Now, you said you might consider telling us about one of them. Are you still, am I pushing? Just give us one little sneak preview into this forthcoming album, if you can. Just something that we can just hold on to, because it's coming out when you think probably would it be early
I'm
next year?
going to try to finish, my goal has been to finish at least 3 of them by midsummer.
Okay.
I just have so many other projects going on right now, just things that I'm doing. I have a couple of vocalists, really talented young ladies that I've been coaching in the studio. So I've been kind of with them,
Right.
writing some stuff for Paul, for some other people.
Oh my goodness.
Just
Oh, yeah.
working. And then, of course, my regular day job,
Right. I was going to ask you how you incorporate.
which is where we are now.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you how do you incorporate music into the rest of your life, because you mentioned that, or someone mentioned that about you, that you say that you do, and I did wonder about that, and you said you did.
Yeah, I do. Because I mean, music is playing in here all day, and we listen to variety. We listen to everything in here, depending on how we feel. It could be show tunes, it could be standards, it could be, jazz. When the seasons change, we listen to Christmas music. We listen to, so it just depends on how we're feeling that day, kind of what we listen to, And I sing all day in the shop, all day.
I would be remiss if I did not ask you about what you feel are the highlights of your career so far. You said Atlanta. Is there something else? And then I want to flip that question to the other side, and some things that you have yet that you want to do.
I would say the highlight of my career, I don't think I'm actually at the highlight yet. I think there's so much more left for me to do.
Ooh.
There's,
good answer.
yeah, I just have so much left in me that needs to,
To be done.
yeah,
Right.
to be done. So I mean, I think I've accomplished so much to this point. You know, I've traveled. I mean, I've sung with some really great musicians over the years. I've just had a great time, and now that I'm moving forward into doing my own project finally after all this time, you know, it's just, you know, it just keeps elevating. So
you kind of feel like you're right where you're supposed to be.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah, everything happens in its own time, and I think now is the time for me to do my project for me. So
very exciting. That's very exciting. I cannot wait to
I'm excited
to hear that. I just wanted to follow up by asking you, have you ever had a band that you really wanted to play with, or an individual? Is there somebody out there, they may have gone on to the ancestors, but is there somebody that you're like, wow, if I had only been able to, you know, play with that person or sing with that person?
Oh, wow.
Or I can tell you, someone that you know, Joe Priester, said, Prince, you know, I was like right there, you know, but I just, you know, I don't know if you've had any sense of that. You know?
Oh, wow.
I think that's a secret about him.
Tina Turner would be one for sure.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I love her. She's like super high energy.
Right.
I've just always loved her music.
And original. Very,
yeah. Very unique. She's very different.
Right.
I mean, of course, if I could have grown up, you know, in the 40s, 50s, of course, they would be my idols, you know, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, just being in the midst of that with Duke Ellington and the big band, and, you know, that was just seemed like a really cool era.
I know, I see pictures of Natalie Cole with all those folks, and, you know, she's, oh, you know, I called Ella and all this stuff. And it's like, geez, you lucky little girl, you know? So, and of course, you know, she absorbed all of that, you know?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was so much, you know, great music then, and so, and it still lives today, which is, you know, which is really, which is the great thing about it.
And people like you.
Well, yeah. Just trying to keep it alive.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to take another listen to hear another selection from something you sang recently.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Take a listen, enjoy. Now, before we go, you know, of course, we did talk about your album coming out. And we want to know about, you know, of course, all of the cuts on there, but if you could just talk about one and maybe even give us just a little teaser taste of what we might be hearing as we get to purchase that album in the future. And also just to thank you for coming on. You're going to have to come back. You are extremely talented. Very wonderful.
Thank you.
To have you here.
To.
Okay, well, give us the inside scoop.
Okay, well, one of them is called Sweet Temptation. It was kind of inspired by friends of mine that do the online dating or meet people on Facebook, and of course I've met a few people on Facebook, you know, it just kind of hit you up, hey, how are you, I'm so and so, and so it just kind of went from there. So, and
the title is?
It's called Sweet Temptation.
Give us just a little
well, it just kind of tells a story.
Okay.
I haven't seen him, I've only talked him, I can't wait to meet him. My mind is filled with anticipation. What will I say to him when I'm face to face with him? Whoa, his voice is captivating, conversation so amazing, got me always hanging on his every word. How does he do that to me? It's like he's trying to seduce me with that sexy voice that he uses. Whoa.
It's been UPFront. Come back next week, and we're having you back again.
Of course, I'd love to come back.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Beautiful.
Thanks.